Hello, welcome back to my channel, Mel's Stampin' Gallery. I'm Mel, your close to my heart maker, and in today's video I want to share with you a very simple two-page layout documenting these photos that I have of a recent camping trip that I took, that our family took together. And I'm also going to be using the Stampin' Thing Cut set called S'more Adventures, as well as the mix-in paper pack from the Close to My Heart July-September seasonal catalog. And the mix-in pack can be found on page 34 of the catalog. And the stamp set can also be found in this catalog as well, called S'more Adventures, and that's on page 51. And as always, I will have everything linked in the description box below, so make sure to check out those links if you see something you like to go shopping on my website. So let me go ahead and clear this out of the way, and we will go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my 2 pieces of 12 by 12 white daisy cardstock to build my pages. I'll try to keep that in there for you. I'm going to go ahead and I've got this piece that's cut to 10 by 8 1/4. I'm going to line that up there, and then this piece is 10 by, it comes out to about 3 3/4 actually, and I'm going to put that on that side. Then I've got this piece that measures 3 by about 11 inches tall, and I've gone ahead and I've dovetailed the edges of that, and that's going to go right about here, I think. And then I've also got this piece here that I'm going to build on top of there, kind of lay that together. And then I've got this little zip strip piece that is going to go right about here, I think. Maybe I want this over here a little bit, and the zip strip right about like that. And then when I bring in the pictures, let's see how the pictures lay out. Got the first one, and I've gone ahead and I've printed these at 4 by 6 with a border around them, a white border, and then I didn't have to do any matting with the cardstock on there, and those are going to go about like that. And then I think the other 4 by 6 that I have is going to go here, kind of match that one up there. Let's see how that's looking. And then we've got these 3 by 4 photos. The other one that matches here. I'll put that over here so you can see that. And then I've got another 3 by 4. It's going to go down here. And this one that kind of goes with that one is going to go on there, about like that. So we've got that kind of dry fitted together. And that's looking pretty good so far. Now I think the one thing I want to do is maybe take these pieces here and ink them up a little bit, ink up the edges, sponge up the edges to kind of make them stand out a little bit. And to do that, I've just got a sponge, and I'm dipping it into my ink. And this would be a mocha color ink, and just sponging up the edges all the way around, and that way it will stand out a lot more from the basic white daisy cardstock. I'll go ahead and finish that up off camera, and I'll be right back. Now I've got most of my base paper and pictures glued down, except I didn't adhere these yet, because I think right over here in this empty space is where I'm going to put some journaling and some embellishments over here. But I feel like this kind of needed a little color behind it, so what I thought I would do is try to do just a little bit of highlight in that area. So before I adhere those pictures down, I'm going to just take a sponge brush with my shortbread ink, and just in a circular motion, just sponge that area, kind of give it a little highlight, not too dark, because like I said, I want to put my journaling there. So I am going to finish that up for you, and I will be right back. I've got that sponged with my shortbread ink, and I'm going to go ahead and put down my other two photos where I want them to be. This one up here, and another one of my little granddaughter playing in the river. She just loved playing in the river. So I'll put that down there. Now I feel like I kind of needed something to ground these two pictures up here. So I had this little piece of a zip strip that went with the mix-in pack. So I think if I put it right up here, it kind of brings all that blue color together. It's got the blue from the photos, a little bit of this blue from these photos in the paper, and it brings that across the page like that. So I think I'm liking the way that's looking. I'm going to go ahead and just adhere that down. And I'll put that right up here, just on top of the photos. And like I said, that kind of gives them a grounding spot so they're not just kind of floating there in midair. So now I've got my photos and my paper all down. Now it's time to work on the fun stuff, some little embellishment clusters. I'm going to go ahead, and I think my title is going to go right up here, but what I want is just a little embellishment cluster over here. And I have this circle that I've cut out, a stitch circle of my die cut machine, and I've gone ahead and I've sponged the edges of it, and I've inked the background like I did on the other two areas here with that saffron ink. And then I've got this little bear from the stamp set that I've cut, die cut and colored in, and the fireplace, the little fire, and then he's holding his little marshmallow there. So I'll hold that up so you can see those little guys. Oops, aren't they so cute? So what I did for the bear and the fire and everything else was like I said, I stamped it, and then I die cut it out with the die cut machine. I'll show you how I stamped that. Go ahead and I'll move that aside, and I'll flip my Versamat over to the spongy side for stamping. And I've just got a piece of white daisy cardstock, just a piece of extra cardstock. I'll go ahead and get my stamp off the stamp set. And it comes with so many fun little stamps. I just wanted to use them all. But I went ahead and just put the bear on your acrylic block. And I've got my intense black ink because I want to use that because I'll be using my alcohol markers to color it in. And just press down. And on my cardstock, then I will just press and apply and just hold that down for a minute and then lift it up. And then I'll take it over to the die cut machine to cut it out. And I'll be right back. So here is the little die cut image, and here is the metal die that I used to cut him out with. And then, like I said, I used the tri-blend markers to color that in. I'll go ahead and I'll bring these pages back in, and so I can work on them together and kind of get the embellishments where I want them to be. And this little guy is going to go up here in the corner. And I've just got some foam tape on the back. I want to pop that up a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and put that down up here in the corner. And I think I'm going to put that just over the photo a little bit, because like I said, the title is going to go in here. All right, so that's looking good. So I'm going to set this page aside for a second because I want to work on this cluster down here at the bottom. For that cluster, I've got the tent, which I stamped and die cut. And the tree, there was a tree that goes with that, so I've stamped that and colored that in. And the chair. The fun thing about using the die cuts and the stamps is that you can make your embellishments match your pictures. So I don't know if you can see that in the picture, but the chairs over here are the same. I was able to color them so that they coordinate with the picture. So I think I'm going to put that right about here, the chairs. And this set comes with a die cut. I don't know if you can see it. Let me show that. Let me bring that in for you. this mountain set. So that isn't a stamp, it die cuts mountains out for you. And we didn't really have any mountains where we were. So I cut it out of the pine cardstock. I cut it apart a little bit. And I think I'm just going to slide those in there. Because there were hills. There weren't any mountains, but there were hills where we were. And I'm going to put those in there, I think. Just like that. And then I had this tiny little piece of a zip strip left over from the other side. I think I might slide that in there just to kind of make that grounded together. And I also have the tent that I was able to coordinate with cardstock to match the tent in the picture. And I thought I'd attempt to show you real quick how I did that. This is a paper piecing technique. So to do that, you get your cardstock. Let me move this out of the way. In this case, I've got my dark blue cardstock, and I've got my tent image here. And I'll grab my black ink here, and I'm going to ink up that stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it on the blue cardstock. And then I wanted the flap to be gray, so I brought in my gray cardstock. Same thing, I'm going to go ahead and ink that up again and just stamp that. Let me put that away for you. Then what you do is you take your scissors and you go ahead and you cut the outline, and you want to cut on the stamped line. You don't want to leave any of the like a margin, like when you die cut something out. So this is a little bit different than when you die cut it out, because you don't want to leave that edge around there. So you go ahead and cut that all out. Okay, so cut that out. Same thing all the way inside. So you've got that blue piece. I'll move this aside. And then the same thing with the gray. You just cut out the part that you want to be gray, and in this case it's the flaps. So I'll go ahead and cut around that. I'm just going to do this real quick here. I'm not being real precise. I just want to show you real quick how it's done. And then I cut that out so that I have these two pieces. Then I can take my liquid glue and put those two pieces together. And then I can take, after I've die cut the tent image on my white cardstock, then I can put those together on the white cardstock, and that's where the offset will come in on that part. And then I just took a white gel pen and made the stitching lines around the side, and I did sponge up the edges to kind of give it some depth before I adhered this all down. So that's real quick how I made that tent. Bring this page back in, and I'll start building this up here. I've got my tree already down. I'm going to go ahead and put the tent with the foam adhesive down there, and I've just put it in the middle so I can put things underneath it. I think it's going to go right about here. And the little chair, like I said, this little piece here, maybe. And then the chair here. And then those mountains in here. And I think that'll work good. All right, so I've got that embellishment cluster down there, and I've got the bear up here and starting to come together. But now, to keep your eye flowing, I need an embellishment cluster over here on this side of the page. And like I said, this is going to be some journaling here, so I just want a little bit of a cluster here. Let me move that over a little bit so we can see that. And over here, what I think I'm going to do is put the other part of that little mountain that I die cut out. I think that's going to go about like that. And then I've got another one of the pine trees that I've die cut and colored in with the Spectrum Noir markers. I've got the tree there, and then I've just got these little logs that I think I'll pile up on top of there, because of course, when you're camping, you always do have a pile of logs, you know, somehow or another, like that. So that's coming together pretty nicely. I've decided to kind of make a subtitle over here where my journaling is going to be. So I've taken the stamps that I want from the stamp set. I've kind of laid them out where I think I want them to be. I've laid them right on my paper. I'm going to take my acrylic block and just pick those up together. And because it's the first time I've used it, I'm going to just rub it on my arm to get all that extra sticky off of there. And I think I want to bring in some of the sapphire that is on all the sides of the page. So I've got my sapphire ink pad. I'll just open that up. I'm going to ink it up. And again, because it's the first time I've used this stamp set, I'm going to go ahead and do it stamp off first before I stamp on my page. And yeah, I think that's going to look pretty good. And then I'll stamp it up here. I'll ink it up again. I'm going to stamp it right on my page. If I mess up, I've got a plan B. So I just want to ink that all up. I'm going to hold it up and look to see if I've got ink on there, and I think I do. So I'm going to get it up here as close as I can and just go for it. Push down in the center, just hold a second, and then when I lift up, keep your fingers crossed. Yay, it looks good. So over here, there's this little I am here kind of a thing, and I'm going to get that with my candy apple. Ink that up, make sure it's the way I want it. Looks good. Same thing, press it down over here and push down. Try not to rock it and lift up. Oh, I like that. I like the way that turned out. Yes. Now I want to go ahead and work on the title part up here at the top. And in the stamp set, there's all these different sayings with s'more. The merrier, s'more the merrier, s'more memories, let's make s'more memories, s'more adventure. So I want mine to say, let's make s'more memories. Because that's kind of what this was all about. And I know I want it to be up at the top. So I just stamped the words let's make and memories just on some scrap, just to see if they would work well there. And the s'more, even though I really liked it, I didn't want to put it on some white paper and cover that up. I didn't want to stamp right on there. And I just had some letters in my stash that I just wanted to bring in here to use up. So I think I'm going to move that S over there and move these over a little bit. And then put the E. And let's make s'more memories. And that'll go there like that. And then there's this little bag of marshmallows that I think will look really cute right there. So I think that's going to work pretty nicely. And I'll go ahead and get that fixed up. I title it here down, and I've decided I stamped right on the cardstock there. I think that looks good, and I'm going to go ahead with the stamp and the sapphire ink and stamp the top part of that title as well, right on the right on the layout. So again, oops, I've got my sapphire ink pad. I'm going to ink up my words, stamp off. Yep, looks good. So I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to line it up there as best as I can. Stamp, push, and push, and lift up. Oh, I like it. I like it. Let me get the ink pad out of the way. And all that's left to do right here is to put this little bag of marshmallows. So I just got a little adhesive on there. I'm just going to put it like that on there. And I'll bring in the other side so you can kind of see the two pieces together so far. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. The only thing I want to do, there are a couple of other little stamps I think I'm going to put on here. Here's this little heart piece. I'm going to do that with some more of that matching candy apple. Take that up, stamp off. And I'm going to put this right down here because I want to kind of bring some of that candy apple down here. Again, and lift up. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. And one little bit more stamping. There's this little moon shape from that stamp set as well. I think I'm going to again use some more of that sapphire. I'm going to ink that up. Again, I haven't used this yet, so I'm going to go on my scratch paper. Yep, it's working good. I think I'm going to put that up here on top of the mountain. That looks good. And then there's a couple little star shapes. And let's put those right. Let's turn them upside down like that a little bit. Ooh, I like that. And then I think I'm going to carry that over to the other side as well. Move that aside, over to the other mountain. Maybe I'll just do the stars on that part. Little stars. Actually, I think I want the moon. Is that crazy? 2 moons. I like it. I like it. So all that's left for me to do now is to add a little bit of my journaling, and I'll do that later off camera. But let's take a look at these 2 pages. There's the one side. There's the right side. I'm going to put those together a little bit so you can kind of see that. And like I said, I'm going to add some journaling over here. And I think I'm going to write on the paper instead of doing strips. But be sure to stay tuned. I will have stills for you on my Instagram and Facebook pages, so be sure to check that out there if you're still with me. Thanks so much for joining me, and be sure to check the description box for all the links to my Instagram, Facebook, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and have a good day.